Hello, BookTube. Cheers. It's Thursday night, I believe. Yep, Thursday. And I have a really epic book haul. So I got some of these books from a friend. I got a few from my wife. I never went out today. I went to work and I came home and there's bags of books. So I'm pretty happy. So I'm going to start out with a nautical book. I have seen this before. I have never seen it with a dust jacket, and I'm thrilled. It's called The Seafarers, A History of Maritime America, 1620 to 1820 by Robert Carse, who, like I say, I have seen his books around before. This came out in Harper and Row, illustrated by Ray Houlihan, and it's from 1964, and this is the first edition. Just beautiful, done. So, yeah, it's, I'll give you a feel here. So very nice. Thrilled to have it. We're going to bounce around here. I've got them separated up sort of by subject, so I don't stick to just one. This here is Simon Skama's Rembrandts Eyes, an absolutely master. There's the author. Very young looking there. I have this. I will put this in my library. I need more art biographies for the public library I work at. And this is one of the really good ones. I really like this volume. This was 1999. Hard to believe it's already 21 years. So this will give you an idea. It's got that heavy art paper type, that really glossy paper that can get very, whoops, don't try that one. There we go. So very nice for the Proctor Library. Then we have a book that really made a splash, I think last year or the year before. This is George Packer's Our Man, Richard Holbrooke, and the End of the American Century. This will go into my collection. I have not read this. I've read several reviews of it, and I'm not sure why I never got to it. Oh yeah, it's 2019, Alfred A. Knopf. But yeah, this was covered everywhere. So let's get the photographs sort of scattered. So I remember him well. So that one will go over here. And then this is amazing. I've never seen this, and I cannot wait to read it. This is the Eureka Years. Boucher and McComas's Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction, 1949-1954. This I'm really excited about. This is edited by Annette Peltz McComas with an introduction by Theodore Sturgeon. In the fall of 1949, an extraordinary publication was born, the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction. In their half dozen years together, Anthony Boucher and J.F. McComas set a standard of quality that has never been surpassed. So some of the writers covered in here are Richard Matheson, Zena Henderson, Gordon R. Dixon, Philip K. Dick. So it's a nice mix here. I've looked through it a little bit. So really, really happy to get to this. So then, get back to the sea. We have America in the Sea, a literary history edited by Haskell Springer. This is from Georgia. This is quite a volume. Again, one I've never seen. It's got one of these things for the a book review, I guess. Little compliments thing asking for 2 copies of any review that appears. University of Georgia Press in Athens and London. Right here. Has a nice mix. As Introduction to Sea, Land, and Literature by Haskell Springer. Colonial Era by Donald P. Wharton. Revolutionary and Federal Periods by Wharton. Cooper and His Contemporaries by Hugh Egan. Personal Narratives, Journals, and Diaries by John Sampson. Hymns, Shanties, and Sea Songs by Robert D. Madison. And he goes on and on. Also had some of the artwork of the period, or of all the periods actually. So here's an example, and then there's an explanation to go with it. So nice addition to the Nautical Library. Then this one again is one I have, but this will go into the public library. And This is the first four notes, Beethoven's Fifth and the Human Imagination. This is a really good book. Like I say, I have it in my collection, and glad to have this for the library. This came out as an op book from 2012 by Matthew Guerreri, right here. And yeah, very famous bit of music, and he does a wonderful job talking about it. Then this, again, because I don't have a lot of these type of contemporary military histories, this I'll put in the public library. And this is No True Glory, a frontline account of the battle for Fallujah. I have not read this, but I know that this will be a big hit. So, yeah, like I say, this will be it's Bantam Books, Bing West, and this came out when? 2005. Got a central collection here of pictures. That was pretty gruesome. I just went by. I'm trying to move fairly fast on these. Then this one I used to have ages ago. Thrilled to see it again. I was actually thinking about this book not too long ago, and this is Galaxy, 30 Years of Innovative Science Fiction, edited by Frederick Pohl, Martin H. Greenberg, and Joseph D. Allender. I know the first two. I don't know the last guy. Featuring stories, memoirs, and a look behind the scenes by some of the most famous names in science fiction history, with a special index to every story, article, and review ever published. This is a very, very good volume. Like I say, I had it ages ago. What do I have in here? I have it looks like a little piece of fiction or something. I don't know what it is. Well, it's tipped in there for some reason. I probably shouldn't have pulled it out of the page where it was. I might have been able to figure it out. So who do we have here? We have Fred Pohl, Alfred Bester, Damon Knight, Philip K. Dick, Theodore Sturgeon, Ursula Le Guin, James Triptree Jr., Larry Niven, Robert Sheckley, Judith Merrill, who did a volume called England Swings SF that I need to find. It was a paperback. And many more. I'll just hold up there. You can just track it down. That will definitely stay with me. Then, Warren G. Harding and His Times, The Shadow of Blooming Grove by Francis Russell. I have not read this, but I used to go by the Harding Memorial years ago. Let me see when this book came out. It's a McGraw-Hill Book Company in New York, and this is 1968. And it looks like a pretty serious work of biography. Let me see. Yep. So interesting. Not somebody you read or I read about a lot. But glad to have it. Then we have a science fiction novel, Clifford D. Simak, Where the Evil Dwells. One of these nice, I think it's science fiction. No, it's not a book club edition. It is a Del Rey book, Ballantine Books, New York. And this is from 1982. And Monsters Weak and Strong. The troll balanced on the limb of a tree and looked down at them. There was a rope about his neck with the other end tied to the limb. "Stand back," he shrilled. "Make no move to save me. I have nothing left to live for. My bridge." He jumped. His feet hit the ground, and a good length of rope lay on the ground beside him. He bungled it, Harcourt said, feeling disgust at a job badly done. He miscalculated the span of rope. Who knows? I like Simak. Then we go back to the sea. This one my wife picked up for me. This is 50 Years of Fortitude, the maritime career of Captain Jotham Blaisdell of Kennebec, Maine, 1810 to 1860, by Kendrick Price Daggett. This is Mystic Seaport Museum did this series, the American Maritime Library. I have not read this. This is a beauty. End papers. And let's see, it's volume 12 in that series, and this is from 1988. Absolutely thrilled to have this, very nicely illustrated, sort of scattered throughout. So looking forward to this. I'll go right into the Maritime Library. Then this one, which also will stay in my library. I was actually looking through this a little while ago. This is Classical Music, the 50 Greatest Composers and their 1,000 Greatest Works. This is, let me see, Phil G. Golding, but it's Fawcett Columbine out of New York. And this came out in 1992. The interesting thing is they give a little brief bit about each composer, some little separated out box things, but they do a starter kit, a top 10, and then they do master collection. So let's take the Dvorak here. You get an idea. Some of them are longer, and then some of them are shorter. But this looks like fun. Let's see, where am I? And then we have Touched by Fire, George Armstrong Custer, Life, Death, and Mythic Afterlife. And this is by Louise Barnett, which was my grandmother's name, which is sort of cool. And she did not write this. And this is Henry Holton Company, New York. And this is from 1996. So, Custer biography. Sherman. Then on to some science fiction. This is actually really cool. Aliens from Analog, edited by Stanley Schmidt, who was a long-time editor over at Analog. Sorry about that. I got all the windows open so you could hear the car go by. So you got Murray Leinster. Who else we got here? Eric Frank Russell, Poole Anderson, Frederick Brown. So, pretty good list. And alien stories. Let me see here. This came out in 1983, Davis Publication. Davis Publication was the one who did the magazines. A lot of those digest-sized magazines. So, thrilled to have this. And then this one's Adventures at Sea in the Great Age of Sail, 5 first-hand narratives, Captain Elliot Snow. This is a book I know and have read. This is Dover. Very nice. Dover does these print of these sorts of things, and they can be great fun. Out in New York. And let's see, we have Narrative of the Adventure of Captain Charles H. Barnard of New York. During a voyage around the world, that was 1812 to 1816. The Adventures of John Nichol, mariner, during the 30 years at sea. The Journal of a Voyage in the Brig Spy of Salem, 1832 to 1834. Then we have some Pacific stuff, Massachusetts stuff. So pretty neat. I'll put that in there. Then, The Country of Vast Designs, James K. Polk, The Mexican War and the Conquest of the American Continent by Robert W. Murray, author of The Sands of Empire. So, this house was about 15 or 20 years old when Polk took office in 1844. And this is Simon & Schuster, New York, and it's from 2009. Put that right there. Then we have another science fiction, The Centauri Device by M. John Harrison, Doubleday Sci-Fi. And imagine that came out for $4.95 in hardback. 1974. I have not read this, or if I have, I don't remember reading it. There's our author, looking very, very 1970s. He's from England. He is well known for his controversial SF criticism in New Worlds, of which he has been literary editor for the last 5 years, so why don't I know him better? Huh. Well, there, I will get an education. Then this is magnificent. This is really cool. The Visual Encyclopedia of Nautical Terms, Under Sail, an illustrated guide to the language of great sailing ships and the men aboard them. I've looked through this. This is really well done. This is Crown Publishers Incorporated out of New York. When did this come out? I don't see it. And I'm not going to spend all day looking for it. Oh, maybe it's on this page. 1978. So, to give you an idea what it is, great deal of fun. I love this sort of thing. And this is beautifully done. And then the rest, I got a few more. This has gone on a long time, but it's a lot of books. We have Russell Shorto. This is called Revolution Song, A Story of American Freedom. It has blurbs by Gordon Wood, Stacy Schiff, Howard Feynman. Let me see. And he's written quite a bit of other stuff. And this is W.W. Norton and Company. And this is from 2018, so it's very new. Let's see what sort of stuff they got in it. It is illustrated. In his epic new book, Russell Shorto takes us back to the founding of the American nation, drawing on diaries, letters, and autobiographies, flesh out 6 lives that cast the era in a fresh new light. They include an African man who freed himself and his family from slavery, a rebellious young woman who abandoned her abusive husband to chart her own course, and a certain Mr. Washington who was admired for his social graces but harshly criticized for his often disastrous military strategy. And that would be true. And then we have a novel. This is Massachusetts. It's by Nancy Zeroulis. I have not read it. It was nice end paper. I have not read her before. And this is Fawcett Columbine again. Another volume by that publisher. And this is from April 1991. And this is the entire fascinating story of Massachusetts as it was lived in all authentic detail and towering glory. It's an epic novel. Let me see. It starts with the Mayflower. So I guess this is sort of like one of those spanning a great deal of time, sort of like a Mishnah or something. So I'm looking forward to that. Then this one I looked through. This looks amazing. Wild America, Roger Tory Peterson and James Fisher. It just seems to be the day for traffic out here. A distinguished naturalist takes his British colleague on a 30,000-mile tour of the continent of North America. So Peterson had taken a tour with Fisher in England and then returned the favor, and they went from Newfoundland all the way down the East Coast, all the way down into Mexico, up and around, all the way up to like the Pribilof Islands in Alaska and all that. So really cool. Weather Vane Books, New York. I think it's 1955. So here you go. It's got these spot illustrations by, let me get one that's good. There's a Roadrunner. They've got these are done by Peterson. So Roger Tory Peterson was the nature guide writer. Birds of Eastern North America was one we always had when we were growing up in the house. This next one, I looked through. It's actually fascinating. This is Paper Trails, U.S. Post and the Making of an American West. And it's something called digital, what's it called? They have a way of saying it. It's digital history. And I'm looking through this, and this is a really intricate and detailed history of Western expansion and the post office and Wells Fargo and all this. And I'm a lot of stats and all that sort of thing, so it looked really fascinating. This came out, what's Oxford University Press, and it's really new. Yeah, 2021. So really looking forward to that. I'll probably read this and then put it in the library, because I think a lot of people will actually really enjoy seeing this. And the author looks very young. And then, finally, this is a real treasure. Longmans Atlas of Ancient Geography. I'm a big fan of atlases, and this is a doozy. Wonderful bookplate in it. I don't know if you can see that. This is a new impression from 1905. Longman Greens and Company, London, Bombay, and Calcutta, 1909. So now that the traffic stopped, my son's upstairs bouncing around. So we'll have plenty of noise to keep you.
Achoo!
Oh, gee. You just can't get good help the way you used to. Peloponnesus? Look at those maps. Isn't that amazing? So yeah, that's a haul. A friend of mine stopped by with a couple bags of books, so we're going to have to feed him. He's got a really nice dog. And then who's very polite. And then my wife also got a few of these for me. So I did pretty well today for a guy who didn't go anywhere. So I hope everyone's well, and we will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.